Right, well I'm really excited to be back down here at Lodge Lake Syndicate. I've been offered a second chance to come down here and have another go at one of these big beautiful carp. I've caught my PB here last time I was down here at 36.2, the big cream. What a beautiful fish. I don't know whether you've seen that if you've seen one of my previous videos. We arrived yesterday, we've already done a night, we've had a good look around the lake, we've sort of seen a few odds and sods of fish, but we've set up where we think they're going to be and where the best chance of catching one is. Bryan's already had one. Yesterday we saw a fish known as the big orange swimming along underneath the surface, put a bit of bait out, Bryan put his rod out, and within 15 minutes it was off. Absolutely crazy. A stunning carp. Was originally a mirror carp, but then for some reason, freak of nature, changed to be an orange. What a beaut. I'm going to pass you over to Bryan now, we're going to talk about what we've done, and then maybe have a look at that fish.
That was one fish that I really wanted to catch. I've actually caught it once before on the second time I fished the water at just over 24 pounds, and at that time it was just a straight ordinary mirror carp, no coloration on it whatsoever. And it was caught a number of months later and it had a small orange spot on its side which was very noticeable. And over the next year or so the fish just gradually turned orange, and now it looks like an enormous goldfish. Just over 28 pounds, a fantastic looking carp. And I still can't believe it is actually a mirror carp. I'm fishing across to an island which is only a short cast, but unfortunately the depth on the island is quite shallow, so spotting unfortunately on this trip was out of the window. So what I decided to do, I'm just going to show you the bits and pieces we used and how we used them to tempt that fish. First of all, I've taken our ellipse pellets. It's 60% and 40% of the medium ellipse pellets. Both those pellets I've found the carp just want to eat them. And I've mixed them together, give them a good shake around, and on top of that I've added 50ml per kilo of the new Salmon Pro. Fantastic liquid, soaks into the pellet and gives it loads of extra flavour and taste. And you've got the salmon coming away up through the water, you've got the Fish Pro which is hanging around, hovering over the pellet, and it just makes it that little bit more interesting. And what we've done from there, we've taken the new ground little gems, which are the ellipse pellets, or sorry, the gems pellets which have been ground down to a fine powder. Brilliant for holding flavour or going into method mixes or stick mixes. And what we've done is taken a couple of handfuls of the little gems and the ellipse, mix them with a couple of handfuls of the ground gems, taken 20 or 30 of the blitz boilies and just crush them down into little bits, so there's no whole bits in there at all. Give it a good mix around in the bowl, add a little bit of lake water, literally so that the whole thing forms a ball, and that made it possible to just throw across to the far side and scatter around all around the snags and out the front just to tempt those fish out. A nice little bed of the pellet, and on top of that scattered some boilies around the area. The hook bait itself was phenomenal, pineapple and butyric flavour. It just catches so many fish, soaked up in betolin as well. I mean, these pops do catch 12 months of the year. Fantastic for fishing right up in the water on zigs as well. Caught loads of fish on zigs, spotted over the top. But as a straight pop-up, I mean, they are so visual and so good at this time of the year when the fish are just sort of milling around, and you know, there's a lot of silt and bits from the trees on the bottom. But just keeping that hook bait up and more visual does get you more takes. One other thing that I want to show you is our new spod mix. What we've done is we put together a number of items so that you can put together an incredible spod mix which is very, very productive. You've got the amazing nut sludge, you get a bag of that, you get a bag of the little gems, you get a tub of the Carp Crunch and Chopped Tiger, and all those bits there, I think that's my favourite pellet, little gems. Nut sludge is my favourite base for a spod mix because you can use it on fishing up in the water when it's really sloppy. It lays the bait out really lovely on the lake bed, so everything's not clumped up. And on top of that, what we've put in for you now is a little pot of imitation. You've got pink and yellow and orange and white, your favourite colours, soaked up in betolin, and they're superb for either topping off a boilie, just to make it that little bit more visual and give it that little bit of buoyancy, And also, with your little gems there, you can make yourself a little bag. And that cast out does catch an awful lot of fish. This mixed together, very, very simple. What I normally do, I take half the back of the nut sludge, half the bag of the little gems, half a tub of the particle, mix it all together in a bowl. I generally add a tin of sweet corn to that, give that a mix in, and then get your boilie, whatever you fancy using, and just crumble 20 or 30 boilies into it, give it a good mix around, and then spod that into your area. And that is absolutely deadly. It lays it in a different way, it doesn't all clump down, so you've got a bigger spread of an area for those fish to move in and feed in more confidently. I think you should give it a go and just see how phenomenal it really is.
Last night was absolutely freezing. I came out of the bivvy this morning, there was frost on it. I was up nice and early to be fair, but there was fog and frost pretty much everywhere. I believe that that's knocked fishing on the head. It's been pretty bad weather really throughout our trip. We've had outbursts of sun, cloud, rain, even a bit of hail coming in there, winds going everywhere. It's just not been quite right, and I believe that that's just making the fish, not move about. So what I'm going to do now is just show you the rig presentation that I'm using to fish on the bottom. All it is, it's quite simple really, but the problem is the bottom's quite silty. So we're looking to fish a pop-up, not really a bottom bait, because the foliage that falls on the floor could be fouling up the hook. And we don't really want to be risking that, because there are good quality fish in here, and even so, you don't want the rig to be rendered useless. So what it is the hinge stiff rig. We've got a boom section here of hybrid stiff, with a quarter anti-tangle sleeve there and a loop knot. Then we've got down to a size 11 ring swivel. We've got a bit of putty there where the knot is tied onto the ring of the swivel. A small section of mouth trap in £20, just really small because we're not looking to fish too high off the bottom. We're still trying to max it in with our baits on the bottom. We've got a size 8 quarter choddy hook and a Hinder's betaine pop in 10mm. So I'm going to bring that closer so you guys can have a good look. So there you go, that is how this rig sits on the bottom. Really is a perfect presentation for fishing over silt. So how we're fishing this, we're fishing this over the top of a nice bed of bait. All it is lips pellets, little gems, and the new product, ground little gems. All that is just soaked in the Salmon Pro liquid, and then with a few blitz boilies crushed up in there. All we're doing then, adding a bit of lake water to that, letting that soak in so it gets nice and moist, and then just giving it a good rub round, and then just going to ball it up and catapult it in just over the spot. And then after that we're also going to add some whole blitz boilies just so we've got them moving about, and then when they've got round the boilies they can sort of come in on the area where we've balled in the bait, and they've got nice sort of small areas of bait and little tiny items for them to dig around on. So that is the plan that we've been using. It hasn't really worked for me yet, but yeah, hopefully it will. Right, well that is the end of this session. Nothing has come of our baiting tactics, but there is always another time. I've got to go home now, unfortunately, but just before I go, there's a competition for you. If you'd like to win one of those spod packs that Brian showed you earlier on, the new Hinder spod packs, all you've got to do is tell us what's in it. In order to win this spod pack, you've got to be a subscriber to my channel. So if you're not subscribed, subscribe. It really is a great prize. It's worth winning. And if you are a subscriber, just answer this question: what was in the spod pack? Leave the answer underneath in the comments box, and yeah, hopefully I shall have one next time.